Hey there, Wendy here with Jazzydoodledesigns, and today I thought I'm going to be doing a buddy color with Kate Taylor, a lovely gal out of South Wales, and we are going to be buddy coloring this page. And I thought I would use Pan Pastels because I'm a little intimidated to do skin, and I think the Pan Pastels will be a good way for me to get a nice base layer down. And I thought I would take the time to kind of explain like how we can blend on these bigger sponges and just talk about some Pan Pastels in general. If you're new to the channel, I love Pan Pastels, and I know people are super freaked out by how much they cost because they aren't super cheap. Each one of these little Pan Pastels is somewhere around $4 to $6. You can buy them in 10 packs and get like a portrait set, and it drops them down to about $4 a piece, which I know seems like a lot. But when you see the small amount that you have to use to get color on your page, you will understand that these will literally last you, most likely, your lifetime. Unless, I mean, to be realistic, if every day you were doing something with the exact same Pan Pastel, let's say you only did portraits and you worked every single day, yeah, you might run out of a color. But for the kind of work that we do with the variety of colors, they're just an amazing medium. Number one, they go on smooth. They're not chalky like other Pan Pastel or like other pastels. They're not messy. Now, I will say you're going to need a paper towel and a wet wipe and a kneaded eraser just to kind of tidy up. When you're done, you're going to need a fixative. You want to set this with, I use a workable fixative, and I'll show you the before and after when we get there. But probably the number one thing that I love about them, they're erasable. You put a color down and you don't like it, you can erase it. Now, the exceptions are if I were to go in, let's say with this really deep, this is red iron oxide extra dark, I may leave a little bit of a tint behind on the paper, but it is way more forgiving than colored pencil. So that's why I'm going to be using this, especially for her little face. So, couple other things. So what are we going to need? I like to put a paper towel down. Sometimes I tape the other side. This is just, it's a one-sided color book. So what I think I'm going to do is just use my paper towel that I'm going to wipe off on. I'm going to use that as my protector too for that page. And then we're going to be using some various Pan Pastels. I'm going to be using a sponge like this to do my blending on. Now, these are what are called soft tools, and they're kind of like makeup sponges. However, to me, there is a difference between these and the makeup sponges. I've tried both. I really like these soft tools, and you can get them like this. This one had 12 of these little mini guys, which I really like for something this size. You can get these bigger tools. You only have to buy this, and then you can pull these off and replace them, and you can flip them over. I'm going to go ahead and flip this one over. You got to be careful when you put them on that you don't rip them. But what you do is when you wipe off, once you are no longer seeing color on your paper towel, you can use this for any color. Now, I tend to try and stay, like this one I'm going to use for my light colors blending, and this one I'm going to use for my dark colors, just simply because I don't want to risk any purple getting on her face, right? But generally speaking, you can wipe it off and you should be pretty good to go. But I tend to keep them dark and light. I always have a wet wipe, just any wet wipe on hand, because you're going to get a little pan pastel on your hands, and then you keep your work surface clean better. And, you know, your paper towel to wipe off, and your applicators, and our kneaded eraser. And we'll be set to go. Now you can buy this on Amazon, Dick Blick, any of those type of things. You're not going to find these in the box stores, but wait till you see the amount of pigment. Okay, have I rambled on enough? Yes, I have. So let's dive in, shall we? Okay, let's get us zoomed in. I'm gonna start by laying a base layer of this. Let's see if I can get you in camera there. Burnt sienna tint. Now I will tell you, be careful, because if you've scuffed this up and you've got it a little powdery here and you turn it over, it may flake off. But anyway, I'm going to go in and I'm very, very lightly. I pick up a little bit. Can you see that? On my little tool here. But look at that little bit is really laying down the color. I'm going to go in. Now, I encourage you to not, like, once you kind of run out of color here, don't keep going. Go ahead and pick up some more. Try not to be too stashed with this, because you will erode these down with your paper, and then you have to replace these more often. But look, I haven't even, like, you can't even tell where I've touched. It's so little that you have to use. All right, so here's where I'm going to mix. I'm going to take a little bit of this, put it on my sponge here, and then just a little bit of white. This is just titanium white. And what I'm going to do is just mix a little up. And I know maybe you're worried about, what if I don't have enough to do like my whole face, right? Let's say I ran out right here. It's okay. These are so forgiving. It is easier to mix these if you use a bigger tool, because you'll pick up more. But I really don't need a lot. But see, I don't necessarily have the same exact color. That's okay. Look how forgiving this is. Oh, maybe I want it a little lighter. Pick up just a little white. Oh, I got it too white. Go back in, touch your peach, and just play with it. It's so forgiving that you don't have to be worried, right? About getting the right mix of color. Now I'm going to kind of go over her entire face. We're going to come back to it for sure. But I like leaving I like the look of a little white here. Kind of here on the high part of her cheek. And maybe just a touch here on her chin. And then we're going to go in with some darker colors once I get the other colors on my page. Okay? So let's go down here and let me make sure you're in the camera. I'm going to do the exact same thing, just using that base peach color here, kind of on the outsides of her arms. What if I get a little on this basket? It doesn't matter. I can erase it. Get a little touch of white here in the center. Not a lot. We don't want it to read white, but see how it's giving us a little bit of a highlight there? Now here's what I'm talking about. See the crumbs? If I turn it upside down, do you see how the crumbs got? No, you can't see. Do you see how the crumbs are right here? So you got to be careful, you know, to keep a clean workspace. But it's forgiving. We can erase. Barely tapping that just, and look at how much color came. Just a touch of white, maybe right here. Just a little highlight. All right. Tap, tap, little tiny tap. Now this is going to fill in all the white of the paper and really help. Oh, this is her shirt sleeve. Okay, good example. Now be careful when you blow. If you get spit on your paper, not to be gross, but if you do, it will make a permanent mark. There's something about wet Pan Pastel that you can't erase it, you can't do anything with it. So with my kneaded eraser, I push it down, pull it up, pick up that color, do it again. Do it again. And look at that, gone. You can also rub it if you want. I find that just little blots are good. And then you just knead it. That's the best part about these, is all that color gets sucked up into it. All right, so tap, tap, just a little tiny bit. So you can see how long these are going to last you. And I would encourage you to think about what you like to color. I don't do a lot of portraits. Now, I have invested over time in all of these. I think I have most. There's probably a couple I don't have of maybe some of the metallic and glittery ones. Although I did pick up some the last time I was at the art store. Okay, so once again, just a baby touch. Just to add a little bit of highlight here to parts of her hand. Okay, and just like that, we are off and running. Now, I am trying to figure out, I debated a long time on this, but I think I'm going to, I want to go in with some kind of reddish hair, and then maybe green on this cloak, kind of a white beige here on her dress. Okay, okay, I colored this arm too. I was like, why does she only have one sleeve? Okay. That's why I love pan pastels. I promise you I didn't do this on purpose, but it is a good example for idiots like me. Pan pastel is a lovely medium. I'm not going to worry about erasing it too much more than that, because I'm probably going to make it a similar, I kind of like the look of that. I may go in with a color like that. Okay. So now that we're done with that, okay, next up, I am going to work on her dress here. And I think I'm going to use this tool. No, I think I'm going to start on her hair. Let's do her hair. Okay. I want to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing, but I want to be far enough out that you can see what I'm doing with the Pan Pastels too. So that you can see me touching them and that kind of stuff. So how do I gotta zoom out just a little more. Because I don't think the strokes are as important as some of the other stuff right now. Okay. So I'm gonna work on her hair, and I definitely want it to have like the redder tones, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my mixing sponge to show you. So I have burnt sienna, this color. I have red iron oxide shade, yellow oxide tint, yellow oxide, and we'll see. I might use this red iron oxide extra dark. And then I also have the colorless blender that I can use, and I have like a white that I could use, and I have like that burnt sienna tint. Now, when you mix pan pastels, I turned those over and some of them had the little flakes. Okay, so now when you use these, I'm going to use this one applicator for all of these things. All of those different colors. I'm going to zoom you out just a little more. Just for while we're talking. So you got all these different colors, right? So let's say that you don't have, let's say you've got this red iron oxide, right? And it's a little too dark, or even this burnt sienna. Let's say I look how much I put on. Can you even tell where I did it? Let's say I put that on and I go, well, that's a little darker than I want. So now I can, right here on my applicator, I can just pick up a little bit of those two colors and see how much lighter that made that. And maybe that's the color I want. Now I'm going to do a mix. So I'm going to go in with like some yellow here. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, what are you even doing? And, you know, I don't know. But Pan Pastel gives me the feeling and the freedom to take chances, because if it's awful, I can erase it. She's got a lot of hair. I didn't realize that. Maybe a little there. And I'm kind of doing this yellow like in where the highlights would be, right? Kind of like on the curves. Okay, now I'm going to go in with that burnt sienna. Kind of like that color. You can go over pencil over Pan Pastel. So we could just get our base layer in and then go in with our Polychromos or a Prisma or whatever pencils you own. Got to be careful putting your hand in, because you will pick up Pan Pastels on your hand. In some of these smaller areas, I might want to use that tinier applicator. But I'm gonna wing it for a minute here. I'm just getting color on the page. I'm not worried if I go out of the lines a little bit. I can fix that. I don't feel like I have to color every single little nook and cranny because I am going to go in with pencils. But this gives me the ability to get some different colors in here. I'm going to go in with a little bit of the darker color. All this right on the same applicator. Kind of going in where maybe some darker areas would be. Did I miss this entire curl? Yep. But see how, like, I had that red on there and then I picked up the yellow and it kind of made it orange, and it doesn't even matter. Okay, now that's looking like a hot mess, right? So go in and get a little bit of the brown. Okay. Also, don't worry. See how I have a little bit of light there? It doesn't matter. If it really bothers you, you can wipe it out just with your finger. I personally don't worry too much because they're so forgiving. It's not a big deal. Okay, so I was talking about the color of this blender, right? Yeah. So what this is going to do is enable me to just blend these a little bit. See how that's blending? Kind of creating a more cohesive color. It just smooths it a little bit. And you don't have to do this. We could have kept it all one, like with the big pops of color changes. It's kind of whatever look you want. Part of what I'm doing is trying to show you a little bit of the technique too. And things you can try and experiment with. See, I got it on her hood, not worried. We're going to go back and fix those things up. Okay. I think that gives me a good starting point. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my kneaded eraser and just fix that little area there. Depends on how important it is. If I know I'm going, like on her face, that's important, right? But look how easy that fixed. Just put it in a point, done, right? But like if I'm gonna go over this with green, it's really not that big of a deal. I can fix it with my other pastels, but I want to show you how easy it is to fix those little these little areas where I've went out of the lines a little bit. It's simply that easy. Any place else? Okay. All right. Now, once again, I am using the Pan Pastels as my base layer. So I can go in with, let's just use a little bit of this dark and see if we like it, huh? Look how much I picked up. You can hardly even see that little bit. Do we like that? I think we will once we blend it, once we look at, once again, I mean, such a tiny, tiny amount, right? But I'm just putting it in these shadowy areas. Just giving our pencils a little bump up when we go to start. Right? Because we want some contrast. But if you put it down and you don't like it, erase it. Erase it and start over. I like that. Okay, so let's tap that off and then just smooth it out just a little bit, making sure I don't have any big clumps of it on there. Just kind of smoothing it, blending it just a little. Maybe here if I wanted a little lighter again. Go in with some of my lighter colors. You can tap off with your eraser where I got out of the lines, but also just to lighten it up. Maybe you just think it's a little, like, let's say I think that this part is just a little too much. There you go. We lightened it up a little. So forgiving of a medium. And as someone that's getting older, it is a joy to work with my hands because I'm not having to, like, pencil can be a little harder on the hands if you were doing the entire thing. Trying to get all the white spots out, right? Maybe we want a little more golden highlights in there. Now that we've kind of blended, is that too much? Maybe. It's a little much. Just think it's so fun. In case you can't tell, I like this medium. I know. I'm a goofball. Okay. And I know some of you are looking at this and saying that looks terrible, but once again, guys, this is my base. I am going to be adding some pencil to bring out the detail. I could play with this for hours, like just going in and fiddling with it, right? Adding a little red, adding a little yellow. But overall, I think it's looking really good. I mean, you could color a whole page just with Pan Pastel. There's nothing to say you have to add your medium over it, right? Nothing at all. So if you can get this to where you like it, then no pencil needed. Okay, let's do this last little bit down here with just a little of our dark here. Light. Medium. You could do an applicator for each color if you wanted. I think as long as you're staying kind of in your color families, I don't feel the need to switch a lot. Technically, you could do this entire page with every color with one applicator. Okay, next I'm going to do her eyes and kind of start with her cape a little. So let me get my colors in. This is Hansa Yellow Extra Dark, Bright Yellow Green shade, and Bright Yellow Green Extra Dark. Okay, so those are kind of the colors that I've picked out. This, I've rubbed off most of the color here, but I wanted the little pointy applicator. So I'm going to pick up some of this light. We're going to bring that into her eyes. Now we're going to go over her pupil at the end, so don't be afraid to go over all of that now. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of this dark. Just for some interest. Maybe even some of this middle green. I don't want to cover up all of that light, but I can go back in with it. Now let's say I wanted a little lighter. That's fine. We get our green and we get our light. But quite honestly, I can do it right here on the applicator, right? And brighten it up just a little that way. Maybe even brighten it with this yellow, right? Right there on our Pan Pastel. And just keep playing with it until you like it. We can use pencil to flesh it out, but I'm okay with that. Okay, now I'm going to switch over back to this kind of one. So there's different ones. See, there's the pointy, the super round, and then kind of this one with kind of a conical tip. It's whatever you have. So I'm going to go in for, you know what? I think I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to start with our lighter. And look, I just go right over that stuff. It doesn't matter. Get it on. Kind of go around those little leaves. And you can see where it was lighter because I had a little bit of that yellow. But does it matter? I can go right over it now. It doesn't make any difference. So forgiving. I'm going to pick up a little of this dark. And I just keep kind of mixing as I go. That's what's nice about this versus pencil is you're like, you just make adjustments right there on the fly. You can leave big changes of color. You can smooth it all out. You can put a little colorless blender if you want, just to make it a little easier. Makes your color go a little farther. Right? But just like fabric's going to have different, you know, like pleats and folds and all of that. This is a good way too if you can't afford all of them, you can start with not getting the tints, and you can add whites and light yellows and the colorless blender to get your lighter tones. That is one way to do it. Or you can simply get your tints and lay it down as a base layer and then use your pencils for your darker tones. So those are two different ways that you can kind of get started slowly with Pan Pastel. Because I do feel like one of the big benefits is just getting that layer down on the paper that gets rid of all the little white, gets rid of the white of the paper so that you have to do less work with your pencil. For me, that's kind of the goal. Or one goal. I enjoy just working with these as a medium. The colorless blender makes the color just go on smoother. So I do recommend that as well. But I'm kind of liking this dark light. How I got the light here and then the darker up there and the darker here. Okay, kind of liking that. Go in with my dark here. What color do you think we should do the bow? I think we should just do it in the same like green tones. I'm kind of leaning that way. Like the lighter green. See, here's where it kind of got a little messy with the hair. The green just kind of covers it right up. Now, one thing you don't want to do is one of these, like, you know, we always tell you not to do that with color pencil too, but with this, it's a lot more important that you don't do that because it will smear. We don't want to smear. Well, maybe you do. I don't know. Can't speak for you, I guess. I don't know. Can you see the color resplendor? Let's get that in the camera too. That way you can see when I tap into that. But you know, maybe pick up one or two, but I will caution you, once you do, you will want them all. I mean, maybe not all of them, because they do have glitter ones and pearlescence, which I personally don't use a lot. Okay, where does her dress end and the background begin? That's the question, right? But you know, think about where pan pastels would benefit you. If you like doing portraits, I do encourage you to check out the portrait set. It's got, I think, 7 colors, which are like the similar ones that I used on her face, and some darker tones too for her face. If you do a lot of backgrounds, like what kind of background colors do you like? And maybe pick up a couple like that. Okay, make sure we're still on camera. We are. Okay, I had to stop the video because I started laughing so hard when I heard myself say, "Oh, let's make sure we're in video or in camera." Yeah, I am. All right, so let's go up and do her hood here. Also, this is probably a good place to have like a piece of paper that you could put your hand on if you're working, let's say, on this side of the face. I try and hold my hand up off the paper, but it does make you a little less stable. You just have to be careful with whatever you use. If you put the paper down, you still can't slide the paper, right? So here I'm just using the darkest tones. because this is all shaded. Okay, I'm liking that. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to go in with our lightest tone, a little bit of colorless blender. Like that. Now people have asked me if you can use a cotton bud. Guys, you can use whatever. The results will be a little different. But if that's what you have, if that's what you can afford, get started with it. And then I encourage you, if you like working with these, the way I built up my Copics, because they were expensive and I definitely didn't have the money to go out and buy a whole set or anything close, I would save up my money until I could buy 5 to, about $25. At the time I was buying them, I think from Carpe Diem was one of the spots that had really good sales on them. And they had like free shipping if you bought over $25, or maybe it was $50, I don't remember. But I would save up then and buy them 5 at a time. So they were about $5 at the time. And so I would pick out 5 colors and I would order those, get the free shipping, and I did that for a really long time. And at Christmas, I would say, here's the website, here's all the markers I don't have, here's the ones that I'm most interested in, and I would encourage my mom, or if we drew names for Christmas or whatever, I would say, this is what I want, guys, like, go in together. And that's how I built up my set of Copics. So that's what I would encourage you to do, if you like working with these. But you can see this is pretty fast too, because I am talking and thinking about what I want to explain to you guys and that kind of stuff. Okay. Get a little bit of dark in there. Okay. Now let's say I want like a little bit of light. I can pull in like this yellow. What if I say, I don't like that. Get our light color, blend it back out. Kind of like it though. I like that it adds a little bit of light, and I can go back in with my green, right? I might add just a little highlight. Kind of like that, just, and that's the gift, right? Is, do I like that? No. Yes. Erase it, move on. If you find that you're not getting the color you want, start over. Erase, not erase, but wipe off your sponge and start over. Yeah. See, I like that. And this is a good way to kind of practice your shadows, because you can try, like, what happens if I put a shadow here? What happens? You go, oh, kind of like that. Or you say, no, that shadow doesn't look good there. Right? I'll lighten that up just a little. Maybe just a little here on the edge. Okay. A little touch up. Okay. I'm liking her. I'm liking her a lot. All right. So now what are we going to do with this? I'm thinking kind of this burnt sienna shade, this yellow, and maybe the burnt sienna. Let's see. We'll kind of play around with these colors. I'm going to grab a bigger applicator, my sponge, right? Just find a little spot. Let's put some color down. Pick up some of those crumbs. And let's see what we get. Maybe a little. We'll blend that out just a little. Let's see what we got. Do we like that? Not sure if I do or don't. I think I do. I think I do. So once again, don't be worried about getting the exact mix that you had last time. Just get it close. We're gonna fix it. Everything's fixable. Everything's fixable. And once again, you can mix it right on your applicator. You don't have to go into a big sponge. Does this look too much like skin tones? Possibly. I want a more rich color. Let me think. I'll be right back. Okay, while I have this color, kind of like this color, so I'm going to go in a little bit here on her face with this kind of mixed color. Okay, that's a little much. A little bit of shadow. Okay, see, I kind of messed that all up right in there. Lighten that up just a little. But we can lighten it up with our sponge too. Where's our, this is our skin tone here that we originally put on. Okay. Okay, we're going to go in with a little bit of the white. We're going to highlight here on her brow a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to smooth out this area. Put a little white here. I feel like this area right here should be a little lighter. Just pick up a little bit of that color. Smooth it out. Right? Okay, now I'm going to go in with red oxide tint. And let's just put a little bit of that in her cheeks and her lips. Maybe. Okay, so I took a little red iron oxide, just a touch, just on the, look how much I'm using, teeny tiny little bit. And we're going to add that. We're going to wipe it all off and then kind of tap it on a little bit. Now we're going to check out the side of my hand. So I'm going to take my wet wipe. It's drying out from the light. And I just want to make sure that I'm going in and wiping my hand down so I'm not, see, I got a kind of a smudge there. So you want to keep an eye on that. Not a big deal. Make sure your hand is good and dry from the wet wipe. Fix your smudgies. Okay, but I'm liking how she's looking. We're going to go in later with some black after I've sprayed, and we're going to put in, is that her, is this, that's her ear, right? Is this her ear that I colored like hair? Or is that hair? I'm going to lighten it up. That way it could be either. Okay. What was I using? The little, oh, there it is. Here's my little applicator. Let's see. Okay. You can decide if you want to give her a little bit of eyeshadow. I don't usually do that. This is how much I'm using here. I just want it to be a little darker around the depths of her eyes. I guess that could be eyeshadow. Wiping it all off now fairly well, and then just barely touching on our skin tone to kind of blend it out. Maybe a little colorless blender. What do we think? A little more pink here. Kind of liking that. Maybe just a hint under here. Guys, if I can do this, you could definitely do this. White on her chin. I'll smooth this out a little. Okay. Let's give a little definition in her hands while we're doing this. Okay. So we're going to smooth out kind of our shadowy areas there. All right. Go in. Burnt sienna shade. I think I told you when we were working with it. Why do I always think this is skin? I'm okay with a little bit of shading there, so we'll leave it. But I'm trying to work on skin here. Okay, get all of the dark off. I'm just wiping. Now see, I'm back down to kind of the skin tone, so I don't really need to wipe until nothing comes off because I am using the skin tone. But I just want the dark off. And then just kind of smoothing those out. Okay. I am not liking this skin tone. I haven't quite decided what to do with it. So what I think I'm going to do is keep moving on and get the rest of the picture the way I want it. Okay, so because I have a bunch of these different applicators, I try and stay within the same color family. So we're going to go with this yellow, yellow oxide tint. Okay, and we'll just get the basis for our sunflowers. Okay, the burnt sienna shade, go in and I'm going to use yellow oxide just at the tip of our sunflower, or the base of our sunflowers, I should say. You know, more towards the center there. I'm going to use a little red oxide extra dark. I definitely like this color better than the burnt sienna because I think it needs that little bit of red, right? Now, we can blend, we can fuss, I could go get a brighter yellow for my sunflowers. I think I'm going to leave those for pencil because they're small, but we got our little base down, right? Once again, just get a little color on the page. Okay, I see here, this section here is her little shirt. So I want to get that colored. Okay. And this, well, we don't know what we're going to do with it, but I'm going to color it the same color as her shirt so that whatever we do with it will match. Okay, let's get some color down for our eggplant. I have chosen magenta extra dark for that. And then we'll bring in just a touch of pink right there. I'm going to do the rest with pencil because these are really small. Okay. What do we think those are? Okay, so this is yellow oxide, and I'm going to go in and put it on our basket. I want this to kind of peek through. The brown that I'm going to use. Okay. You know how there's kind of like that yellow tone to baskets? That's what this is. Okay. And then, once again, I think I am going to let our pencils do the rest. I feel like these need to be maybe a green from a different family. Okay, I'm going to go in with bright yellow green followed by chrome oxide green shade. Let's see if we like this. Because I don't want it to blend in with her her jacket there. Okay. Erased a little bit too much of the jacket there. Okay, let's go in with our bright green. And you know what? I think a little bit of this yellow oxide would be nice in there. Just to punch it up a little. Yeah, kind of like that. Because it's our coloring book. We can make these whatever we want. And to be honest, I don't know what they're supposed to be. Okay, I like that. All right, I'm going to use a little bit of raw umber, using the same. And I'm just going to tap this kind of randomly because mushrooms are kind of you know, they just kind of get those little dirty splotches or whatever. Okay, so get my colorless blender here and just kind of I think that's a good base to start with. Maybe I'll probably go in with a little bit more dark here. but we don't need to get too fancy right now. We'll use pencils for that. Okay. Now, for the background, I think what I'm going to do is I am going to use grays. I'm looking for my skin. I see just a little piece that didn't get colored there. Okay. I think I'm going to use like this Payne's Gray tint, and then maybe bring in some darker blues here in the corners. Something like this Payne's Gray color. So that's what I'm gonna lean towards. See how I smudged here? Got a little smudgies going. So take our kneaded eraser. Just simply fix that a little bit. Once we add the background in, then I think we can make some decisions on this dress, because I'm not liking the dress. Okay. Alright, I can live with that. Alright. Once again, wipe off your hands. Clean up your mess. Let them dry. And then let's dive in with our Payne's Gray. So I'm flipping that over. So I have just wiping everything off, making sure we're kind of starting with a clean slate. And let's go in, let's move stuff out of the way here so you can see. All right. We've got our Payne's Gray tint, our Payne's Gray, and our colorless blender. See how I have the green in there? Simply wiping it with my finger. You can wipe it with a paper towel. You can leave it, whatever you want. But don't be afraid. It's okay. All right. Let's go in with our Payne's Gray. Not too worried. I'm going to go over those birds because I'm going to try not to go over the, what are they called? The leaves. But you know how, like, this is kind of an autumn scene, right? And skies are kind of this gray color in the winter and on cooler days. Picked up a little color there somewhere. Some green. Probably spewed it from the side there. Is that a word? No. Smeared. Smeared was the word I was going for. Once again, not too worried if I pick up some color. It's okay. Can fix it. Can change it. Little colorless blender here and there. I think this is going to be a nice background color. Not too worried about those leaves. They're definitely going to be, you know, kind of fall colors. So definitely darker than gray. If I was to want to keep them white, I would be a lot more careful. But y'all know me, a little impatient. Well, a lot impatient. But that's why I like this medium. It works for me. I'm going to go over pretty much the entire area with this Payne's Gray, even where I'm going to put the darker, just because it'll help me blend. Alright, now I'm going to go in with the Payne's Gray. And it goes a long way. I didn't pick up a lot. But see how I'm having that other layer there helps blend it. So, not a lot. You want to be err on the side of caution with how much you are using. Unless you want it a lot darker. And then I just keep working it towards the middle, kind of blending it. If we want it a little darker, we can go in again. Think it just a little darker here. Now take a little lighter there, a little colorless blender. Now I don't know that I'm going to use any color pencil in my background, so I am going to make sure everything gets colored the way I want it on the background. For the smaller areas, using the smaller tools makes more sense. Okay. There's also like a rectangular one like this that you could use like in these corners if you wanted. Those come like in a pack. You can buy like an assortment pack, which I recommend because then you have choices. Because they all function a little differently and you may find one that you really like. I personally, for coloring books, really like these small, almost like eyeshadow applicators. And once again, you're welcome to use your makeup ones. I do think that there's a difference. I think it's worth getting the soft tools, but I also know that sometimes the best isn't always in the budget. So we can make do. But I do feel like it helps me. These tools really work well with this product and can make a difference. So take that for what it is. I will always tell you if I feel like you know. There's a lot, I guess what I'm saying is there's products that I buy, like to eat, that I want the name brand. I'm really weird about mustard. I like Heinz yellow mustard better than Plotchman's or better than the other ones. Don't ask me why. Can I give you a specific reason? No, not really. I just do. So when I go to the store, I buy Heinz. When it comes to pinto beans, I'll buy the store brand or the one that's on sale. Like if I'm buying a can of them. Because I'm putting them in something like a chili where I just don't find that it's worth the extra 50 cents a can. Now maybe if I was eating them by themselves, I would feel differently. But, you know, everybody is a little different. Everybody's needs are different. Everybody's budget's different. Everybody's health is different. So, no shame. Okay. I'm kind of liking that. I may end up bringing in, I might bring in a darker one. Let's look. Okay, this is Payne's Gray Extra Dark. You can see I've hardly used it. I'm going to get some of this off. It's how much I use. You see the tiny little swipe. Yeah, I think I kind of like that. Then I'm going to go in with just the Payne's Gray to blend it out a little. And then I don't want to blend so much that I lose the dark. That's the key for me. Okay, see this spot right here? It's spit. Because somehow I got that a little wet. Probably getting excited talking. Which is kind of a bummer because there isn't a lot you can do about that. If it's in a different spot, we could blend it out a little bit better, but unfortunately, once you get something wet, it just kind of leaves a little mark on your paper. So pay attention. Don't do what I did. Don't spit on your paper. Could have been when I was trying to blow something off. I might have had a little bit on my hand. I don't know. Am I going to lose sleep about it? No. Am I disappointed? Yes. Do I want to not do that again? Yes. But guys, don't want to wreck your day. These are our coloring books. We're here for joy, not perfection. I like to think of it as being handmade. Handmade things have imperfections. Do I like this dark? I do. Am I liking the blend as much? Not as much. I feel like I'm missing a color. I have 2 Payne's Grays. And I feel like I don't have the Payne's Gray shade, which is the tone between it. It's okay, because we can use what we have. I'm gonna bring in white. I want it lighter around. The other thing that doesn't work real well, the best thing you can do is actually take your page and tap off. That is the proper way to do it. Does Wendy do it that way? No, because she's impatient. And so she blows on her paper and then she gets spit on it and then she cries. So I'm gonna try and get a lot of that gray off. I feel like I'm getting a blend on my brush where I want a little more actual white. But see how there's like, you know, you add dark, you add light. You just keep blending till you get the blend you want. Tap off, wipe off, add what you need. I'm liking it. So let's take a little bit of this, we're gonna kind of go. There we go. And here's what I'll tell you too, about that little spot. Once everything is colored, people are going to be looking at her face. They're going to be looking at her basket of vegetables. They're going to be looking at the birds. They're not going to be looking at that spot. I will be looking at that spot because that's what we do, right? We make a mistake and we immediately like hone in on it and that's all we see and we lose sight of everything else. Okay, I can live with that. Let's do, I'm going to clean up. The other thing you want to do periodically when you're working with pan pastels, they are way cleaner than the chalk ones, but this little area, do you see this? I just take my wet wipe that's pretty much dry because it's been sitting in my lights, but I just wipe it all off and kind of protect my area a little bit. Wipe my hands, get a new wet wipe. Being careful that I don't spray my paper. I'm gonna wipe my hands, wipe my area. Okay, we're all, but look, that's it though. That was probably from other things besides the pan pastels, truth be known. Okay, but now I need to make sure my hand is dry. I'll scoot you back over. Make sure this area is dry. Okay, we're gonna get our kneaded eraser. Now, at this point, I need to figure out, I think I'm gonna do, let's clean up while I think. Before you spray this, you absolutely have to fix everything that you want in terms of like erasing and stuff, because once you spray this, whatever you spray is fixed. In other words, I can't go in, like right now I can go in and I can erase and fix things. Now you can fix them with pencil, but whatever you want to actually erase, you need to do before you spray. How do you know this, Wendy? Well, because I've literally forgotten that step, and it's a royal pain in the butt to work around. Because it's permanent. So now you have to cover it somehow if you want to fix it, as opposed to erasing it. So all of these places where I kind of went out of the lines, I mean, your kneaded eraser is so amazing. Now, I'm thinking potentially doing a gold border, like an actual, what's the word? Shiny gold border. And so I'm not terribly worried about this edge, but I want to make sure, like, why make things difficult for ourselves? These birds, I might not do anything with. I might keep them kind of subtle in the background there. What should we do with our leaves? Do we want to do them with pencil? Do we want to do them with our Pan Pastel? I am going to add some eyebrows to her because she's missing eyebrows. I like the idea of at least starting off with the same color as her hair, because we don't want to make it too different. Alright, so let's talk about, I'm going to put just a layer of color down, maybe some yellow. Because yellow can be gone over pretty easily with oranges, reds, greens, and not get any funky colors. If I were to put down orange, and then if I want to add green, I end up with brown. So I feel like yellow's pretty safe because I'm probably not going to be adding purple, which is its opposite color. But this is basically just to give us a head start with our colored pencil. Okay, did I get all the leaves? I always miss stuff. But I think I did. I think I did. What about our little dress? There's a part of me that wants to pull in this purple color. What do we think about purple and green? Okay, I have decided I am going to try, bringing in this color into her dress. And I'm going to try it without going over the colors we already did. Because why erase if I end up with a color I'm okay with? That might kind of help soften that color a little. Okay, I kind of like that. I do. Okay. But I'm going to use quite a bit of colorless blender here on this part. I feel like it would be a little lighter. So I'm just darkening up the shadows a little bit. Okay, I like that. I'm also going to put in maybe just a little of this purple in a couple of these leaves. Now once again, I am going to just now's the time when you touch things up. Oh, we should make her little feather that purple. This one. Yep. Because that'll draw the dress in, and we can add in other colors on the leaves, right? I think the rest of the leaves I'm going to do with pencil. It's just too much. So right now I'm going to look at, is there anything I want to erase is the main thing. Is there anything that I want to change completely, you know, with the Pan Pastel? And I don't think so. What about this? Do we like it that color? I really don't. I was thinking about making it like a cream, like a real off-white. Okay, I'm liking that better. But see, had I sprayed that, there's just no going back. But look how nice that looks. That's better. Where's my purple? So get your eraser in a shape to where you're not erasing stuff you don't want to erase. Like we like her hand, so make it skinny, like this kind of thing. Okay. All right, y'all. If we're sure we're done, then I'm going to go and spray it with the fixative, and I'll bring the fixative back so that I can show you which one I used. Okay, I'm back. So I sprayed it 3 times. I spray it this way, then I spray it this way, then I kind of give it one of these. The spray will add a little bit of tooth to your page. So your pencils will react a little bit differently than if you hadn't used it. But it's not, in my opinion, super noticeably, I don't know. I do it in that Disney book because the paper's so crap. It just really helps me add a little texture. But I just use this Krylon workable fixative. I have also used the Grumbacher workable fixative. If you saw an earlier video of mine, the Grumbacher I had had since like, I can't remember now, it was like 2009 or 2006. But it still worked and I used it until it was gone. So anyway, but at this point, nothing's going to come off on my hand. We are all set to begin with pencils. Now, I am going to go in with Prismas because I have some ideas and things that I want. Like, I really like ginger root, and I like artichoke, and I like lime peel. These are all colors I think will go really nicely in this. And so I'm going to grab those, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so let's start with her hair. And I just picked out a few pencils. I am not going to be coloring all of her hair. I'm just going to be touching some things up. So I'm going to start with terracotta. And this is going to bring in a little bit more of the red tone. And I am working ever so lightly, just adding in to our darkest areas. Right? Now, if you don't want it to look so red, just pick a different color like, oh, you could use like a sienna brown or like a chocolate, something like. You could even go in with a much darker color like an espresso or something like that. But I'm just going in where the hair kind of curls a little bit. And mind you, be a soft touch here because we added that spray. You may find your pencils really pick up this color. So I don't want any surprises from you. Or you don't want any surprises, I should say. Or maybe I should say, I don't want you to be surprised. You know, English is my first language. I know, you guys are shocked. That's why you follow me. You can feel good about yourself. In the small areas, I just kind of fill in, but in the larger areas, I'm using a little bit of a flicking motion. There's no right or wrong way. Use what you have. And here's the thing. There's nothing to say you have to do pencils at all. Maybe you like how it looks with the Pan Pastels. I thought she looked good. To me, this is just going to take her just to the next level. Some of the details will get a little crisper. Right? And we're having fun, or at least I am. Christine's illustrations are so beautiful. Okay, next up is burnt ochre. Burnt ochre is 943. And I'm just going to kind of blend from our last color. I want her hair to be pretty red, right? I want this kind of yellow-orange to be more of a highlight color, I think. Because this is more fall. If she was more summery, then I would go with the lighter. Just kind of my thoughts on why I make decisions or why I choose one. Doesn't make it right, just my thoughts on it. But I definitely want to keep some of those highlights. So see, we're keeping some of those. And you want your pencil to be pretty sharp. This one could probably be a little sharper. I think I'm going to go in here with this terracotta more. Just making little flicks. Sharpen my pencil just a touch more so that my flicks are a little thinner. Keeping it pretty light. That's just laying down little strokes, like little hairs. Got a little hair there, and that's okay. We can fix that, or not. I mean, hair does get everywhere, right? It's always hard for me to kind of color and chat if I'm not imparting anything. Because I don't really want to, this video I want to keep to just talking about the drawing as opposed to like what's going on in life and stuff. Because some people don't like the chat videos. Most of my videos I do a blend, but sometimes when they're heavier focused on technique, I try and be conscious of it and keep it a little less chatty. At least chatty about nothing. You're like, Wendy, that's all your videos. Now you can decide as much or as little of this as you want. Feel free to turn your paper. I tend to not because I'm filming. If I wasn't filming, it'd be all over the place. Okay, let's go in, I think, with goldenrod. So goldenrod is 1034. Doing the same thing. But do you see how, by doing our Pan Pastel, I can just do the flicks and I don't have to worry about that open space, right? And I like that. Now this color is not a good highlight, but it is kind of a nice blend between all the colors that we've used. It's kind of what I would say more the overall color is. We're going to add one more lighter color when I'm done with this. But this is just kind of filling in, maybe getting all the little wispies. Now, if you like, you can kind of go out of the lines a little bit and add other wispies. You know, stray hairs and the like. I do that sometimes. I think on this one I probably am not, but it's certainly okay. All right, so let's see what sand does. Yeah, I kind of like that. Now you could go in even with a brighter yellow. But I kind of like this. And I'm not doing so much strokes as I am maybe filling in a little bit and laying in those highlights a little heavier than strands. Does that make sense? Now this piece right here is the string to this. And I colored it like hair because, you know, it's what I do. So I think I'll probably make that a little darker. I might add some metallic to this page. I don't use, I see some people's pages and they use a lot of glittery, shimmery stuff. And I think their pages look beautiful. I just don't tend to do it much, even though I have lots of glittery, shimmery things that I could use. But see, I'm just adding a little bit of warmth more with this color. I use the other colors to add the strands. But to me, this warms it up a little bit. You gotta be careful if you want your very definitive strands. I can't decide what to do with this hair. I think it's an ear, but I think this piece, I'm gonna go in with this burnt, what is that? Burnt ochre. Okay, maybe here too. Kind of making it look like the hair's covering the ears just a little. Okay. What do we think of that? Did I get everywhere? Oh, this piece here. Let's get a little terracotta and go in here. And a little bit of the burnt umber to add our strands. And then, okay. All right. I'm going to leave her face, but I am going to go in with moss green, which is 1097, and I'm going to add just a little shading to the eye. I feel like we have a little bit darker rims to our eye. Maybe just a touch of, let's try chartreuse. Yeah, I like that. Okay, and then we'll use a pen in a bit to do her eyelashes and whatnot. So using that moss green, I'm just going to touch up any place that I feel like needs a little crisper line. Right? Like where it meets the hair here. Where it was hard for our Pan Pastel to get in all the little nooks and crannies. Okay, got a little green. Some of that must be Pan Pastel because it's not erasing. So that's fine. We'll fix that here in a bit. All right, let's go back in. Now, I personally don't feel the need to do the entire cloak. But I am going to do just a little bit of shadows, a little shading. Let's use Artichoke 1098. I don't like that. I think lime peel. All right, let's go in with our lime peel. Lime peel is 1005. Gotta be careful, I guess, erasing, because we don't want to. It seemed to kind of leave a little bit of a texture. I'm going to do ever so lightly a layer and probably ever so lightly Chartreuse 989. We may go in and add in some Posca or something here on this lace. I feel like it needs a little something there. Okay. So be careful erasing, because that definitely left a little bit more of a texture than I would like. But smoothing our color out a little bit. Really like this lime peel. Add just a touch of this chartreuse, and don't do too much or you end up with end up with it kind of fluorescent, but I do like the little bit of a pop it gives on these highlighted areas. I'm just going to be a little cautious. Real light hand. Okay, and then go back over it with the lime peel. Just to tone it back a little bit. But even going over it completely, that highlight color kind of shines through. And I like the look. Just distinguishes it a little bit. Okay. All right, and let's do a little bit of that same thing down here. Little highlights on some of the lighter areas. Down here we'll definitely do some, probably like ivory lace on it. You could even go darker. I wish that this was drawn out a little differently. It's hard to really tell where the dress and that thing end. Okay, and just a little bit of this moss green. Define our shadows just a touch. What do you think? Okay, and then down here, just nothing but moss green. This piece might be part of her little jacket there. Okay. All right. In case I didn't say this is still that moss green. Just kind of putting in our shadows a little bit. That's what I love about Prisma though. Look at how well that kind of blends in. Okay. Maybe just a little here. Okay. Next up, let's do our so this is dark purple. Okay, this is a little bit of pomegranate. And I don't want to use this a lot. But here on this side, I'm going to make it just a little pinker. Then I'm going to go in with dark purple and kind of go around that area. Okay, and then a little bit of black cherry in the deepest areas. I just think that gives it a little zhuzh. I'm gonna kind of blend it just a little back with our dark purple. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with that artichoke and I'm gonna color this. And a little bit of burnt ochre. Okay. Next up, let's work on our little mushrooms. Mushrooms are like the French grays, so I got a French gray here. And I'm going to go and just add it kind of to the shadowy areas. I'm going to keep some highlights. I want this part to be more of this, what is this color? Is it choose? I want it more like putty beige. Did I not pull out putty beige? I thought I did. Well, let's go with peach beige. Let's try that. I'm just adding a little bit of this here and there to give it a little bit of that. You know how they kind of get almost like a, I don't know. I just feel like some visual interest. And then sandbar brown just to give them some of this darker area. Right? Like a few little details. This isn't a real detailed page, so personally, I'm not a big fan of getting too detailed because you end up, it looks a little off. Now that amount of detail is fine. Back to the French gray. And I think that's really all they need. So let's go in with cream to our sunflowers. Just for the tips. We're going to do a little lime peel right here to show the stem of that one. And then let's go in with goldenrod right there at the very base. Not going out very much. Because I want this to be a little bit more of a fall page, I'm not going with more of the summery, like a deco yellow. Because the overall feel of my page is a little more fall. So I'm going to try sand to blend that out. Not all the way to the tips because we want those to be a little brighter. Okay, and then let's go ahead and grab a little bit of, let's try canary yellow. Is that this one? Or is this one? This one's lemon yellow. Do you see how that really changed it? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit, ever so lightly to it, because I think it's going to brighten them. And then we're going to go back over them with our cream. Or possibly the sand, depending. We'll try cream first, and if it doesn't work, we'll do the sand. But that definitely brightened them up a lot. And then let's tone it back just a little. Yeah, with our cream. I think that's going to work out good. That way we get the brightness of the yellow, but then we're toning it back to where it's not quite in our face anymore, because it's just a little too sunny for what we've got going on by itself. But I like it with the cream. Yep. And let's go in with the sand again. Let's blend it all again with sand. Yep, I'm liking that. That way we just don't have those sharp, the goldenrod kind of colors. Okay. Now I'm going to take like chocolate brown, and we're going to go into our I'm going to keep that center open a little bit. And then the brown ochre. Yep. Okay. All right. I like that. What are we going to do here? I think we need a different green. Let's go. Let's go olive green, because I don't want to get too bright. And we're going to kind of flick up fairly high, because I really don't want to change anything at the top. But this just adds a little bit of visual texture. Yep. Okay. And a little bit here in our sunflowers, so that we can distinguish that. All right. Going in with okay, so let's fix up our basket a little. We're going to go in with light umber. It is 941, and I'm just simply going to define the little braid here. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves. Okay, and then up at the top as well. Guys, don't overthink this, okay? I'm not saying don't, you don't have to rush through it, but sometimes I think people get too worked up about these kind of things. When they're this small, it's merely the suggestion that does it. Okay, now let's go back in with let's try goldenrod. And just kind of blending those out a little bit. I like that color. Okay. All right, so now down here, we're going to go in to the corners of the weave, right? And that's where we're going to put our shadows. Okay, and then we're gonna blend it out with our goldenrod. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of cream. I don't like the cream. That mutes it a little too much. Kind of like that. If you don't want that orange of a color, you could use something like a beige sienna might be good. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's fix her dress. I'm gonna go in with that black cherry. We're going to add a little bit of shadowing, kind of where her pleats are a little bit where it meets right here at the edge. Here, yep, here in the little crook. We're going to pull it out. We're going to leave a little light area here on the side. Kind of go in where her little pleats are here. Define that just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with the dark purple. I'll leave that a little bit light right now. I haven't quite decided what color we're going to do that. We might do just a little bit of that pomegranate. Now guys, look how far back I'm holding my pencil. That far back. Really light layer. Bring it out here on the edge. Light layer here. I'm going to bring it up into this just a little. Okay, so we're doing the same thing over here. Go in. This is our black cherry in our deepest area. Into the crease. Okay, we'll go in with our dark purple. Bring that out a little. And then we're gonna put our pomegranate in there. Okay, and then go back over it with, we're gonna go over the entire thing with dark purple. Nice and light. Okay. Nice and light. If you don't like all of this texture look, spray, don't spray as much and don't spray as close. I may have sprayed a little too close, but I personally don't mind this at all. I think it's turning out really nice and I like it. Okay. While we're here, let's go ahead and finish these. I'm going to use a little bit of cream. Make sure we've got it all colored. You could use white here too. Once again, I just feel like with the autumn, I just want warmer tones. Not as much like white as I like the cream. Okay, and then maybe using something like this ginger root. Kind of like that. I think it adds a little bit of green to it, which I kind of like. Okay. Let's do, what are we going to do for her lips? Guys, I'm not a makeup person, so like, I'll back you out just a little. Okay, I'm kind of terrified of messing this up, but I'm going to use a little bit of pomegranate and see if I like this. What do you think? Should we have left it? I'm tempted, but too late. In for a penny, right? Okay, I think all we have left now is our little leaves. So I'm going to go in with goldenrod, a little mineral orange, little Tuscan red, oh, that was terracotta. Let's do a little Tuscan red. Okay, and then back with the goldenrod. Okay, doing the same thing here, kind of going in where the leaf, this is ochre brown, or brown ochre. Little mineral orange. And then little goldenrod. And then a little bit of, where's that artichoke? Yeah, a little bit of artichoke. We'll do a lot more artichoke on this side. A little goldenrod and a little brown ochre. And a little bit of this brown umber. Okay, and just keep doing that. A little terracotta, a little brown ochre, little artichoke. Let's put a little sand. And then a little brown umber. I'll put a little lime peel in this one. And a little artichoke. And a little bit of that moss green. Back to the artichoke. And a little bit of sand. Brown umber. There is no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing here. I mean, these leaves are going to be all different colors. That was brown umber, little goldenrod, let's put a little chartreuse in this one. And then cover it with a cream. Mineral orange. And brown ochre. Oh, my head's not in the way here. And a little bit of terracotta. And then goldenrod. Okay. Little bit of Tuscan red. Mineral orange. Terracotta. Goldenrod. A little bit terracotta here. A little bit of that brown umber. Just want a nice mix, right? This little artichoke, little mineral green, or moss green, sorry. And a little bit of brown umber. Okay, this one's going to be goldenrod. And a little mineral orange. Just a little terracotta. Little sand. Okay. Okay. Over here, I want a little bit of this deep purple. And then just a little tiny bit of pomegranate. And some mineral orange. And a little goldenrod. Brown umber. Okay. This one, little mineral orange. We decided this is going to be our purple, so I think I'm going to make this one more golden. That was mineral orange. Some goldenrod. Some artichoke. maybe a little sand. A little bit of that, what is it, moss green. Okay. This one I think we're gonna go with the green, so the moss green, a little bit of chartreuse, a little bit of the brown ochre, okay. This one I want to be a little brighter, so we're gonna go with a little bit of that canary yellow, little chartreuse, and then goldenrod, and the brown ochre, brown umber. Okay, this one I want a little more red, so Tuscan red, terracotta, mineral orange, and a little bit of sand. Okay, a little bit of sand and mineral orange. Just maybe a little goldenrod. Maybe just a touch of terracotta. And then, because it looks weird, I'm going to make that leaf just a little different because it was looking a little off. Okay, oh, we got one more here. What color do we want? A little more red, I think. So let's go in with our pomegranate and terracotta, and a little orange. And then brown. Okay, any more? Nope. Okay. Let's do her little feather. So we want our black cherry. Okay, so for the feather, I'm going to go in. Let's sharpen our pencil. Even though it looked pretty sharp, let's give it that last little twist. And I'll try not to break it on my first lay down. Okay, so we're going to come down the middle of the feather. And then highly recommend moving your book. Okay. Then I'm going to go in with the dark purple. ever so lightly. Kind of in the center. Ever so lightly with our pomegranate on the sides. Okay, and then I think I want to bring this color up into our little pearls. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use that French gray. And I'm going to put little C. You see that? And then I'm going to sharpen my white pencil. Let me find a different white. Here we go. Okay. Get one I don't have to sharpen. Am I heavy-handed? Yeah, sometimes I am. Okay. And I'm gonna do that. Okay. I think the last thing I'm gonna do, I've been debating on these birds because they're I kind of like the way they are and the color that they are. But I feel like they need just a little more gray. So, one moment. Okay, I am going in with 50% cool gray. We're going to start with that. And just very lightly go over like the wings. A little bit into the head. Kind of going with the shading that's already there. I just feel like maybe this will make it look finished. I don't want them stark dark. Right? Because I want them to kind of not blend into the background, but not be a focal point either. Okay. Now I'm going to take 70% and just refine just a little certain things. Being ultra careful because this is a dark color. Could definitely take over. but like where this wing is kind of behind. It just gives just ever so slightly a little dimension, like to this wing that's over that wing. Right? Okay. So, what are we going to do with the swirlies? And around the frame, I'm thinking the frame, I like the idea of like a metallic gold. But I'm wondering if we would be better served to make this darker. Okay, I think I made up my mind. I am going to use the 50% and 70% cool gray. So here where it would be lighter, this is my thought. If I don't like this, I can always go over it with like a metallic pen. But once you put a metallic pen down, there's no going back from that. In fact, I might even go to a 30%. So Okay, so I'm just kind of outlining it with the, what was it, the 70% cool gray. Then I went over it with 30% in the center. And then with white, just in the center. Just for that little extra something. Now you could just, let's see what it, yeah, we want to put that 30% gray in there first, because then the white pops that up as well. And it isn't just white. Yeah, I'm liking that. Now here, just pay attention to what's going under and what's going over with your lines. Okay, do this down here the same way. See, when I add that, it adds a little bit of blue. It kind of, and then the white pops it up. I just think it's a nice, like I don't want to take away from her. And I think that's kind of my struggle with metallics sometimes. Is I feel like if I would have done like a gold border, kind of draws your eye away from her, which is not what I want. Now that's not to say that if you did that it would be wrong or wouldn't look good. It might look fantastic. I'm just, when I tell you stuff like that, it's just to tell you why I do things the way I do, or what made me do this and not that. Can you draw a straight line, Wendy? No. Is it gonna be okay? Yeah. Okay, I want to fix this just a little bit. So with my dark purple, I just want to fill this in just a little bit. Okay. Now I gotta fix it all. It wasn't broken, Wendy. Oh, I missed a leaf. Of course I did. Why didn't you guys yell at me? Thought you had my back. I feel like I don't talk enough on these, so I'm sorry. So if you're listening to silence, I apologize. Okay, let's get a little bit of, let's do some bright yellow. A little bit of chartreuse. Little artichoke. And some orange. And then some burnt umber. But more chartreuse. Maybe a little lime peel or something in there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, y'all. What about our boundary? Do we want to do anything? I think we do. Gold frame. Okay, so I was looking at all of my gold markers, and I think I'm going to go with this Uniball Signal Gold just for the frame. So let's go. And being smart, I'm going to start on this side. Because we want to let this dry before we touch it. Okay, I am going to turn the paper because I just work better this way. Okay, guys, so let's take our white and wipe it off. So you don't do what I did. Okay. Take a piece of paper and scratch off your white. Make sure it's all clean. Okay. Now that it's clean, I'm going to add just a few highlights. On her little lace here. I really don't want to add Posca. I feel like Posca is going to make it look cutesy, and that's not really the look I'm going for. My camera shut off, but I did add a couple little highlights here on our mushrooms. Just a baby touch on her lip. But one of the things that I want to do is add a little bit here on her dress. You know, kind of like if it was lace. Now, you could certainly do this with your gel pen. I just want it a little more subtle, I think, than that. I feel like that would be a little in the face. Now, if you're using other colored pencils, you may want to get yourself a Prisma white. Personally, I love Prisma white. I have a Chinese drawing white I really like, and I really like the luminance. But I do feel like those really definitely make a difference. Let's do her eyes. And I'm going to add just ever so slightly above her eyebrow there. And a little bit here on her chin. Okay. Now I'm going to take a we'll see if this one works. It's always a crapshoot with my blacks. If they'll color over the Prisma. Okay. Just want to add a little bit here to her lash line. Don't go crazy here, and don't add it to here on the eye. Her line is a little below that. Okay. Turn your paper if you need to. I don't add as many as a lot of people do. You can add as much as you like. I think it's easy to go overboard with this. But it definitely adds. If you can, do the little flicks so that the eyelashes turn out. Okay. I don't want to add any more white or black anywhere else. I'm going to call her good. I really like how she turned out, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, color along, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to touch up just a little bit here. It's right there along my gold. So it looks a little more finished. Okay, Wendy, are you fussing? Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And do the YouTubey things. And we'll catch you on the next time. Thank you for watching another video from Jazzydoodledesigns. If you enjoy adult coloring content, please consider subscribing. You can now find me on Instagram and Facebook as well. I welcome all comments and suggestions. Don't forget to like the video before you go. And until next time, take care.